night. No, I have to be cool, but that's a different story. I have to act cool. My language has to match the environment. My attitude has to match the environment. Maybe judging others or making fun of others as well. Yeah, it's okay. We have to act cool. So the other form is hypocrisy or wearing a mask or having a mask in my actions as well. There's a very nice verse, or actually it's verse 1 in the book of Acts. Of all that Jesus began both to do and teach. So number one, in order to teach or be role model, number one, I have to be to do the action. One of the Abunas said a very nice story before. He had a confession with one of his daughters, and she came to him and she said, Abuna, I'm really getting stumbled by my dad. And Abuna said to her, why, Habibi, your dad is amazing. Your dad is one of the references in our church in terms of deaconship and hymns teaching and things like that. And she said to him, you can't imagine the words and the language that he speaks at home. And then Abuna says, Abuna felt she's exaggerating. So the girl in Egypt, she did something in order to make Abuna convinced. She recorded for her dad. And on the next confession, she played the audio. And as soon as Abuna heard the first 30 seconds, he said to her, please turn off that video. We sometimes can have that sort of masks as well in our own actions. And please be watchful for that, because if we want to teach someone things, good things, it will be very hard if we don't start with ourselves. Another mask that we can wear is mask in our talking. For example, if we are encouraging our children, we might exaggerate a bit. You are so good, for example. You are amazing. That exaggeration is accepted because we are encouraging someone, and also there is no mask or there is no hypocrisy when we encourage our children. But sometimes some people, they can make use of that language or that exaggeration to get what they need. Amba Bachomyus, do you know Amba Bachomyus, the metropolitan in Egypt, that he was before Pope Tawadros, between Pope Shenouda and Pope Tawadros, he was قائم مقام. He said a very nice story that happened with him. He said, we used to have a Sunday school coordinator that was very talented in wearing a mask in his talking. He was very talented in that. And when everyone or anyone asks him, would you please start that service or do that service or something like that? No, I can't. I am the weakest among you. I am the baddest among you. I am the worst among you. I can't. No, Sayyidina, you are the blessing. No, I can't do anything. And then Sayyidina, he was knowing that he was doing that he wants to take a higher title in his service. And then Sayyidina, in one of his meetings, is that better? Yes. And then Sayyidina, on the next meeting, he said, all right, we are planning to start that new service. Who can look after that service and who can be responsible for that service? And then everyone around Sayyidina, they said, Mr. Whatever his name can do that. And then he said, no, I can't. No, you know that I'm the weakest among you, Sayyidina, or the biggest blessing. And then Sayyidina, he got really frustrated and he said, yeah, he is right. He can't do that service. Why everyone is pointing at him? And he got mad. And how can Sayyidina say that to him? But they're already saying that, no, it's sort of acting, and I have to act that way. And of course, on the contrary, you have to say, no, you deserve that, you can do that. It's a matter of wearing a mask. Sometimes we we do that. Of course, there are many people that are truly humble, truly humble. And whenever they say it with يعني, faithfulness and true love. But some people, they can wear that mask and actually يعني, they are good in acting that way. Another mask that we can wear is a mask of the win-to-win situation. What does it mean? For example, I love someone because that someone is is doing the whole service for me. So he's as if he's my right hand. I can't do anything without him. And whenever anyone comes to complain or submit a complaint because of that person that looking after that service, me, because he is doing lots of things to our church, I might say, no, 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 he never ever does that. Never, I can't believe that way. He's amazing. He is مش عارف he is. Why? Because there is a win-to-win situation between me and him. So I can't accept the idea, or actually I know he might be doing those stuff. However, because there is a win-to-win situation, I have to wear a mask and say, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So there are many different forms of masks that people can wear. The most annoying one or the most serious one is the spiritual mask in our life, which is really big issue and big story. The spiritual mask that we can wear. What does a spiritual mask that we can wear? At the church, I am like Saint Anthony the Great, lifting up my hands, closing my eyes, praying as everyone points at me. He's a saint. You can't imagine he's 100% a saint. But in a different place, different story, or something like that. Sometimes, us as a servant in our church, we've tried to focus a lot. But if some one of the deacons, while he was reading, he stuffed up or especially said some word he didn't say it correctly, all the deacons, they might attack him as if خلاص احنا we are ready to stone him with rocks. That's a blasphemy. How does it come in to say a wrong word while you are reading the Pauline or Catholic or whatsoever? It's fine. It's okay. What's wrong here? It's okay. I'll tell you a real story happened in Egypt in one of the churches. There was one of the deacons. He went into the church to get dressed as a deacon, and he hasn't been into the church for many years. And he decided to go to the church, and he grabbed his old tonia from his cupboard and he went to the church. And after he went into the church, he found out that all the deacons, they have a unified tonia. They all wear the same tonia as a chorus, as a choir. And he wasn't dressed on the same tonia. So everyone started to point at him, are you from our church? And he said, yes, but I haven't been here for a while. That's very obvious because you are not wearing our tonia. Sorry, you can't stand with our chorus. Please stay in one of the side altars. Or if you want to take your tonia off, that could be another option. Can you imagine? Sometimes we wear the spiritual mask. And by the way, that was a real story in one of the churches. And what do you think? He took off his tonia and he said, see you later, guys. خلاص, that was the end. Abuna Bshu, he has a very nice word that he usually says. And also one of the Abunas, he told us a very nice story that happened with him and Abuna Bshu. Abuna Bshu was praying the liturgy and he started to offer the lamb. And you know that as once he started to offer the lamb, he should finish the liturgy as the officiating priest. And then one of the Abunas, he walked into the church a bit late after Abuna Bshu offered the lamb. Abuna Bshu waited till the other Abuna wore his tonia, and he was waiting, and then he asked him to take over the mass. And usually that doesn't happen. And Abuna said to him, no, Abuna, you've already started. And Abuna Mshuya says, 8 years old, 9 years old. And the other Abuna is one of his children. And he said, no, Abuna, no, I can't do that, I can't do that. And he said, love breaks anything. As long as there is love, don't worry about anything. And he insisted to do that. So it is very important for us that to always watch out. Am I wearing a mask? Do I have a mask that usually bothers me or annoys me and also annoys others as well? Or do we all the time we say, no, we are okay? I don't think we are doing anything wrong. Everyone is doing that. Everyone is doing the same thing. Why should we complicate issues? Anyway, the other point is how to find out. The other point is how to find out, am I wearing one of these masks or not? Number one, hypocrisy or wearing a mask usually have some sort of judging others. So if I all the time judging others and I'm not seeing my weakness, that probably I am wearing one of these masks. The one that he wear mask is usually doesn't see his weaknesses, but very, very, very easy to pick on others. Um, another point that can help me to find out if I am wearing one of these masks or not, all the time, 24/7, I usually ask myself that question: what will others say? What would people say? What would people think of me? All the time, 24/7, is watching out for the reaction of people around him. But the only one that I should care about, that if he's looking at my actions, yes or no, is God. No. Don't worry about God. God should be okay. But more importantly, sometimes more than God, is the people around me. What will be my image if I do that? If I didn't do that, what will be people think of me as well? Um, a very a story happened as well. One of the bishops um, is very humble and he doesn't think ever what would people think of him, despite he is a bishop. He was walking with another 4 bishops and walking down into the church, and of course all the deacons, both sides singing Kismarod, and they were celebrating with the 4 bishops. And then all of a sudden, one of these 4 bishops disappeared. They couldn't find him. And the 3 bishops, they came to the front and they were just about to talk. And of course, they can't start talking until the other 4th bishop, he comes. And they started to look around, where is Sayyidina, where is Sayyidina, where is Sayyidina? And then Sayyidina came after 10 minutes. And then everyone asked him, Sayyidina, what were you doing? Why are you late? You were just walking with us and all of a sudden you disappeared. And then Sayyidina said to him, I promised one of my kids at the church that he told me that I'm going to have a new toy. And I said to him, when you get that new toy, please let me know because I want to play it with you. And while I was walking with you, he said, Sayyidina, I got my new toy. And I had to keep my promise with him. That's why I left you. We went into that room. I sat on the floor and I played with him for 10 minutes. And he said, do you excuse me to go and attend the meeting? And he said, yes, thank you, Sayyidina. But I had to tell you because that we had a promise between me and you. Did that nice saint bishop, did he care about how he looks among the other bishops or even among the congregation while he was sitting on the floor playing with a 7 years old kid or something like that? He didn't care about that. That means that beautiful bishop is He's not a hypocrite. He's not concerned about what will others say. He's not concerned about what will others think. I don't care. It's okay. It's okay, يعني, whatever it is. Uh, Another thing as well, or another point that may help me to find out, am I wearing one of these masks or not? So number one, judging others. Number two is, do I really concerned all the time about what will people say, what will people think of me or whatsoever? And another third point can help me to find out, am I wearing one of these masks or not, is love. Do I genuinely, sincerely have a genuine love to others, or يعني, I will try to push myself يعني, with that point يعني. Um, and also, real love can be in many different يعني, forms or shapes. It happened in one of the one of the one of the in Egypt they call it like deacons' houses, where they can take some children or orphans. They don't have their parents, and one of the servants, or actually more than one servant, can look after them, take them to school and teach them the spiritual life. And usually one of the bishops is look after that house as well in his parish. And it came to a point, there was one kid, he was coming down early morning from the room of that bishop. And then his servant found him that he's coming down was a chocolate. And then the servant asked him, did you knock on Sayyidina's room? Did you knock on his door? And he said, yes, I do that every day. And by the way, Sayyidina gave me chocolate. And he said, what? Do you annoy Sayyidina every morning in that time? 6 a.m. in the morning? Sayyidina usually sleeps that late because of his prayers, because of. Please, that's the last time you ever do that again. And then Sayyidina heard that servant. And he said, and he went down and he said, thank you, my friend. Without you, I would have not taken my medication every day. And also, without you, I would have not having my breakfast every day. Thank you so much, my sincere friend. And then the servant looked to Sayyidina and to that boy. Sayyidina is calling that kid my friend. And then that kid, of course, يعني, he's very proud that Sayyidina is appreciating his service and all that he does for him. There is a different level or different forms of love. There is sincere love coming out from a loving heart, or there is someone who's trying to act as if he loves Sayyidina and he cares about Sayyidina. Do you get what I mean? Two different forms of love. Ask yourself, when I go out with my friend, when I spend some time with my family, do I really have that genuine love, or I will try better to have that form of love? So we had that checklist. Am I always judging others? Am I always concerned about what would people say, what would people think of me, and also what is the level of love that I have? Is it a genuine, pure, faithful, honest love, or a different form? Last point is being self-centered. The man who is trying to wear a mask, or the man that he wears the mask, or those people who wear mask, they are usually self-centered. The clearest example in the Bible is the Pharisee and the tax collector. Do you remember that story? The Pharisee and the tax collector. The Pharisee, he said, thank you, God. I pray all the time, and I also he gives the donations. Thank God, I fast a lot and doing everything. The tax collector, what did he do? He started to Yes. And he said, يعني, God, please forgive my many sins. I'm not like one of those. And the tax collector, he got a he got his forgiveness. Is he not a sinner? He is a sinner, by the way. And by the way, the Pharisee, he's doing those stuff. He prays a lot. He gives donations a lot, and he prays long as well. For many people can look at him and says, "Yeah, he's praying a lot." However, because of the faithfulness of the tax collector, and he's not self-centered. I don't care about يعني, how am I gonna look in front of others. The tax collector, يعني, he got his forgiveness more than the Pharisee. All right, the last point is, what is the effect of having a mask? What is the effect of having a mask on myself and also on others? The effect of having a mask on myself, number one, is the lack of depth in my spiritual life. Never ever, if I'm gonna wear a mask, I can have depth in my spiritual life. If I am just praying in front of others, just to make sure that everyone looks at me and يعني, I'm okay, this one doesn't look at me, طبعا I will try to distract him so he can look at me while I'm praying, I'm closing my eyes. Where is the depth in my spiritual life? No, I'm just concerned about others, just to make sure they look at me and they say something good. طب let's go to church. It's okay. يلا, let's go to church. I don't mind. يعني. Let's attend that service. It's okay. But if I am concerned by these sort of things, the depth will disappear in my spiritual life. Also, all the time, I will be living in fear and guilt feeling. If I didn't do what is expected, and if I didn't, or if I don't do what do I have to do so people can look at me in that nice and respectful look, I will keep يعني having that sort of guilt feeling. I should have done that. I should have not done. After what I said, everyone, they were thinking I'm an amazing servant, I'm a good person, but after what I've said, everyone started to change his mind and his point of view of me. I should have done that. I should have. That guilty feeling all the time. Why? Because I'm concerned about what would people say, what would others think of me. So that sadness and that continuous guilt feeling will keep going on because of the mask that I wear. Another point as well is with others. I remember once before there was a 4 years old girl. She came into our church during Passion Week. Maybe I've told you that story, I can't remember. Anyway, and I found that girl is doing matanyas on Big Friday like adults. She's clothing her hands like that. She bending down, doing the sign of the cross, stand up, doing the sign of the cross. Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me. Matanyas by book, like it was very strange. 4 years old doing that. That's so nice. And then I went and I asked her, "What are you doing, Habibi?" And she said, "Abuna, I'm doing matanya." She could hardly say it, matanya. And I said to her, "Who taught you to do that matanya?" And she said, "My tata, my grandmom. She all the time doing that matanyas, and I used to copy her." So if her tata doesn't do that matanyas, will that 4 years old girl copy her? No. Imagine, for example, if her tata said to her, do matanyas, do matanyas. Doing matanyas is very important. When we do matanyas, we bow down before God. If she kept saying that for millions of times, will that girl would have started doing matanyas? No. But when she saw her tata is doing that, she started to copy her. It's very important, Habib. Imagine, for example, I'm a dad sitting on the couch using the TV remote. Guys, now it's time to pray, huh? All right? and I'm keep changing the channels of the TV remote. Will my children listen? Yes, they can listen for the sake of obedience, but when they grow up, they won't listen. And even if they listen, sorry, he doesn't pray with us. Why he all the time saying, it's a time to pray, it's a time to pray. Or I am eating or having something like that, and you know what? We have to pray before we eat, and I've already started eating and I've almost finished my plate. It doesn't make any sense. So I have to do first before I eat, before I teach. Very important. And if I don't do, it will be very hard for me to teach. Okay? Um, Another thing as well, or the last point, will start to think of others the same way that I think of myself. For example, if I don't love people genuinely, I will think a same thing. People, they don't love me genuinely. If I don't pray genuinely in fear of God, I will say, yeah, everyone is praying the same thing. No one is praying in fear of God, or no one is concerned about the fear of God. So I will start to think of others or look to others the same way I look to myself. And that will be really very, very, very hard for me to live in that way. All right? So that is the mask, and also that is the effect of wearing mask on me and also on others. Glory be to God forever and ever. Amen. Any questions? مرحبا.
Like, you know, when you have mask, sometimes you have obviously not perfect, right? So
100%.
how do we differentiate from like the mask and what we're just struggling with? You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a very
like we have to honest ourselves.
yes. That's a very nice question, Mario. When you're saying we are all having or struggling with our own weaknesses, how can I know if I'm wearing the mask or I'm still struggling in my own weaknesses? The most important point, Mario, is for me, myself, to face myself. Usually, people who wear masks, they say to themselves, hey, I'm okay. There is nothing wrong. What's happening? It's okay. But when I do something wrong or I have my own weaknesses, and when I get back home at my quiet time at night, I threw myself before God and I start to complain of myself before God. That's not wearing a mask, Habibi. We are all struggling in our own weaknesses. The difference is, do I really facing my weaknesses or not? And do I really struggling spiritually and fighting with God to help me and strengthen me to stop doing all these weak points or not? That is the only difference. Yeah. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Habibi. Glory be to God forever and ever. Amen. Thanks, everyone.
Alright, guys. Thank you very much, Abuna, for that. It was beautiful. We're just going to say, sorry. We're just going to say a few